Okay, hi and welcome to our HTML and CSS tutorial. In this movie we're going to show you how to make a basic web page using HTML and CSS. This is a school project, so we're still in the learning process, but we will show you what we've made so far. With me I have my buddy Kevin. Say hi, Kevin.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna show you 3 pages in this movie, which is all the same really, but we're adding new elements for each page transition. Yeah, page 1. Here it is. This page is made by using HTML only, and yeah, the first impression of this site isn't very good because obviously there isn't much to see here. And yeah, I'm gonna show you how to make a site like this, which is quite simple. Yeah. The first tag you will need to make any HTML document is the tag HTML, which you can see here. And this tells the browser you're using that you will use the language HTML. And HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and the HTML elements are really the basic building blocks of web pages. The purpose of a web browser is to read HTML documents and compose them into visible or audible web pages. And the browser does not display the HTML tags, but uses the tags to interpret the content of the page. And yeah, the next tag used on this page is the head tag, which you can see here, there. And that's the container for all the head elements. Elements inside the head tag can include scripts and instructions to the browser where to find style sheets and such. The text inside the title tag, which you can see here, is the text shown on the top left corner of your browser window or tab. And yeah, next we got the body tag, which is here. And this is elementary for all HTML documents. Inside the body comes the content of the page. The body elements contains all content such as text, hyperlinks, images, tables, lists, etc. Yeah, and the rest of the tags used for this site is just text defining tags. So yeah, that's it. The minimum of required tags for making a HTML document is only 4 tags really. It's HTML, head, title, and body. And yeah, that's it. That's page 1, which you can see again here.
So, for our second page, we have both the HTML file and the CSS, as you see over here. We put information into the HTML, but with the CSS, we can decide how we want to show the information to people. With the help of CSS, owners of big sites, for example, owners of sites with 100 pages, for example, can easily manage all of their HTML files at once. For example, instead of individually changing the background color for each page, one can connect all of the HTMLs to one CSS, edit the background color on the CSS, and it will be applied to all pages. Yeah, you save a lot of time. Now I'll take over from here, show page 2, and for this part we organize the web page into boxes. Why? Because it's more appealing to the eyes. So to achieve this, we have to learn about the div ID tag. We made 4 boxes, as you can see over here. It looks like 3, but it's really 4. The container, which is, follow the mouse, over here. Then we got the header over here. Then we got the content right over here. And then we got the footer. Next, I'll be showing you the code right there. And just drag us along and then boom. So like the HTML file on the first page, we start with the HTML. We got a head, title, welcome to our website, close the title. Then this is really important. You gotta have this code, href. You gotta know where you put your CSS file, and then you gotta write the CSS file name. As you can see here, YouTube2.css, YouTube2.css. Close that, close the head, close, and open the body. And over here, this is where you start using the div ID. As I said before, the container. Start with the tag div ID equals container. You can name it whatever you want, but it's easier to remember what you're working with if you just name it what it actually is, container. So now that I open this tag, I'll start putting information in it. So hashtag on the CSS, container, curly bracket, margin 0px, 200px, 0px, 200px. You're wondering what that is, right? So it's basically the distance from the border of the web page. So this area right here. 0px means it's 0 pixels from the top, 200 pixels from the right, 0 pixels from the bottom, and 200 pixels from the left. So it starts from the top and then it goes clockwise until you go to the left. As you can see, 0 pixels, 200 pixels, 0 pixels, and 200 pixels. And then next we're going to talk about the header, which is over here. First I'll just open the div ID header, then I'll put the information on the CSS, hashtag header, curly bracket, background color, this is the number code for it. The padding is 0px, 115px, 15px, 115px. So this also applies with the counterclockwise thing. And then you put in what you want to say. First I wrote the center tag, and then I close it over there. So the H1 will be in the middle of the page. As you see here, welcome to our website. Bam. And then here's the interesting part. Oh, you gotta remember to close it as well. Here's the interesting part. So I wrote hashtag header H1. So what's really special about this is that all the information that I put in here will only apply to the H1 found in the in the div ID header. So that means that this over here will have 0 margins. The font family will be Verdana, color will be white, the font size will be 50 pixels, and the background color will be, here's the number code. So first you see here, background color 484848, which is this area over here. Then you have the 383838, which is this area right here, so it's kind of darker. Then you gotta remember to close that as well over here, right there. Next I'll be talking about the div ID equals content, which is what you see on the web browser right now. Content equals padding, 1 EM, background color is, here's the number code, and that's the color. And then, yeah, you're not going to close that yet. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention about the sub boxes over here and here. So first, after you close the header tag, you start the content, and then afterwards you write the div ID equals left nav, which is this one I'll be talking about right now. The left nav will be floating on the left side. It has a width of 450 pixels and a height of 300 pixels. So 150 in width and 300 in height. Then the margin is 0, so it's going to be stuck onto the inner part or the inner text of the content. Padding is 1 EM, and then now I'll put the border. Border right is 1px white and solid, so 1 pixel thick. Color is white and it's solid, which means, yeah, it's just a regular line. And since it's border right, it's going to be the border on the right side of left nav. And then the same goes for the border bottom, which have the same information I put in, and that will be applied to the bottom border. Then I have the background color. Here's the code, and that's what the color looks like. So next, as you can see here, we got links, and they open up to our other web pages, page 1 and 3. So we're currently on page 2. After you close the left nav, then we're going to open the div ID right add, which is this box over here. Basically, we just added it just in case you're wondering how we can put advertisements and so on. So it says in the region advertisement on the right side, and the information I put on the CSS is hashtag right add, curly bracket, float right, width 160 pixels, height 300 pixels, margin is 0, padding is 1 em, border left 1 px white solid, border bottom 1 px white solid, background, and here's the code. And basically it'll look like this. You have the right advertisement on the right side, you got the border, you got the height, you got the width, and you got the background color. Now I'll go a little bit more about the content. So here's our text starting here, and yeah, as you can see, the H1 on here clearly looks different from the H1 here on the web page. And that's because I didn't put any information for page 2, just to set an example. And then for the H2, I actually added information on that on content H2 and content P. So yeah, both of these would have margin left 230 pixels, margin right 230 pixels. So they would be 230 pixels from the border, which is over here. Both of the color is white. The font family is Arial. The font size for P is 15 pixels, which is basically the normal text, and the font size for H2 is 20 pixels, since it's basically a header. And here is all our text, as you can see. Then I'll close that. I'll close the content, and then I'll start with the footer, which is over here and over here. First, I start with div ID equals footer, and hashtag equals hashtag footer curly bracket, background color number 4848 hashtag 484848, padding is 15 pixels from the top, 115 pixels from the right, 15 pixels from the bottom, and 115 pixels from the left. Then the border is 1 pixel from the top, while the rest just sticks on. And then the H1 for hashtag footer is margin 0, font family Verdana, color is white, font size is 30, so it's slightly smaller than the H1 on the header. And then the background color over here. So first we have the background color for the footer, then we have the background color for the H1, which is over here. Then we have our text, Verdana 30 pixels, made by Kevin Ula.
This is our final page, page 3. As you can see, we changed the navigation list with the drop-down menu, and here you can replace this random text with links to another different pages, and that's the main difference really. On the header and the footer we added opacity so you can look through, and that's kind of fancy, and we added a background picture, so yeah, it's got a better look really. Yeah, the one thing you wanna look out for when you use background pictures for your websites is that it got a Creative Commons license, because Most pictures got copyright, and Creative Commons pictures basically means that everyone's allowed to use it really. And yeah, that's it really. I can show you the opacity for the header and the footer, which you can find here for the footer, here 0.6, and the header up here 0.6, the same as the footer. And this is the code for the background picture. We just call it abstract3, and here you can see the file directory. And that's it really. I can show you the code for the drop-down menu, but we won't explain this here. Basically because it's a bit more advanced than the other things we've explained in this video. But yeah, it's kind of fancy. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for your time, and see ya.